Gotta zhuzh it.
You just gotta zhuzh it down.
Hello everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm the Viet vegan because I'm Viet and I'm vegan. Today is a collab video for Thanksgiving. In case you guys didn't know, I'm Canadian, so my Thanksgiving was actually a month ago, but this gave me a chance to experiment with this recipe before your Thanksgiving. I'm pairing up with Rose from Cheap Lazy Vegan and Kat and Dev from Two Market Girls for some delicious Thanksgiving eats. It's a little mini collab, so be sure to check out their videos. I'll link them down below as well as in the corner. Subscribe to them, give them a like, tell them I sent you, and let's make some good ass food, okay? Today we're making a Thanksgiving roast, or a holiday roast, or just a seitan roast if you just feel like having a roast. It does take a little bit of effort, so you know, this is more like a holiday sort of recipe. Before I get started, everything I learned about seitan I learned from this book right here. I don't have the physical book around, I don't know where it is, so my recipe is based off of one of his recipes. It's not quite the same. I added a bunch more ingredients and changed a little bit of the stuff, so be sure to check out his book. I'll link it down below for you to check out as well. Over here we have our ingredients for the seitan roast itself, and over here we have the ingredients for the simmering broth, which will turn into the gravy to serve with the seitan roast. For those who don't know what seitan is like a vegan protein that's based off of this magical ingredient right here. This is gluten. This is more like a beef roast, so I flavored it to be beefy. For the full ingredient amounts, you can see them linked down below in a blog post with a full recipe and instructions that you can print. I have here some vital wheat gluten. I got this from Bulk Barn. You'll need 3 cups of it. So for seitan, you need to flavor it, otherwise it's gonna be chewy and it's gonna be bland. So we need to infuse it with tons of flavor. So I have here some onion powder, garlic powder, some white pepper. Now for those who can't find white pepper, you can use black pepper. It'll just have like a different flavor. I find that white pepper is a little sweeter. I'm also adding some mushroom broth powder. Now if you guys don't know where to find this, I have a old video that I need to revamp that you can see the packaging down below. You can just use vegetable broth instead of the water and the mushroom broth powder, but I find the mushroom broth powder really brings this to like a whole new level. I'll link the video down below if you want to learn more about it and see what the package looks like. You can get it at most Asian grocery stores. So we're gonna add some rosemary. Now I don't love rosemary, but it does pair really well with like beefy flavor. We have some fresh thyme, but if you don't have fresh thyme, you can also use dried thyme, so about a teaspoon. But I'm gonna use some of this stuff because why not? I have it, right? Oops, I just dropped the entire thing in. I have here some molasses and marmite. Now these both serve a very specific purpose. One, they add a very deep, rich sweetness and like funkiness to this, which makes it really taste beefy, as well as the Worcestershire sauce. Now this is vegan Worcestershire sauce because normally it has anchovies. And I'm just gonna combine them together. Well, 2 of these ingredients are quite sticky and viscous, or is viscous the one that means that it's really thick? Does viscous mean it's thin or thick? English, man. Oh, this alone is like Flavor Town. So we're gonna mix these dry ingredients together just so that they're incorporated and then you don't get like a random clump of, you know, just onion powder or garlic powder or whatever. And we're gonna be using our hands for this, so be sure to wash your hands. We're gonna add our wet ingredients. So we have our water, we have our tamari, some oil. This is just vegetable oil, I think, or sunflower oil. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter what kind of oil you use as long as you choose like a pretty neutral flavored oil. And then we have our Flavor Town trio. So we're gonna mix it all together. It's gonna look really weird and clumpy, but it's gonna be real good, I swears. So this is the part where you can employ your kids or, you know, someone who likes being more hands-on with their food. Kneading everything so that all the ingredients are really well incorporated together, and also you're developing the texture of the seitan. So like bread, because you know when you're kneading bread you want to activate the gluten to make it like chewy and stringy and delicious. You have to do that with the seitan as well. So get rough. If you have a meat tenderizer, just, you know, knock it up. Not knock it up, but like, you know, knock it out. Take out your aggression. Work out your biceps, triceps. I don't know what muscle this is. I should know. And you should know it's done when it doesn't just like snap apart. It should really kind of tear. So that's not quite ready yet. We're gonna keep on going. Try not to do that too often though, because it's kind of a to get back together. This kind of has a weird flap that I want to tuck in. And it's kind of like in like a rounded shape so that like when I roll it up, it's gonna be quite uniform, hopefully, ideally. It's not the most like elegant food, but it tastes damn good. So we're gonna roll it up. If you wanted to put stuffing in, this would be your opportunity to roll stuffing. but I haven't tried doing that, so I don't know how to make it so that the stuffing doesn't dry out. You're gonna have this like weird long log, which is what you want. And this is the beginning of your seitan roast. Next thing we have to do is we have to bake it and then we have to boil it. So first we bake it to kind of like set the texture and like the shape of it. So when you're baking it, you want to put the seam down so that it bakes on the seam. So we're gonna put this on here. We're gonna bake this for about 45 minutes in the oven at about 300 to 325 depending on your oven. Then we're gonna make the simmering broth. So BRB. Now we make our simmering broth. So if you're wondering why we're not just like boiling it in just regular broth, because you're gonna use this broth to make gravy. And in here I have about 10 cups of water. We're gonna add a bunch of ingredients. So we have parsnips, some carrots, and celery. These are just roughly chopped up. You can eat these vegetables when you're done with them, but I usually just compost them because they're a little too mushy for me. But basically what you wanna do is you just wanna boil the flavor out of them so that they go into the water. And then we also have about 3 small onions, halved and peeled. Some tamari, nutritional yeast, black peppercorns, and mushroom broth powder. Lastly, we have some molasses. These are some black strap molasses. The purpose for this is to add kind of like that umami flavor and darkness to the gravy. Nobody wants like a clearish gravy. We want like a thick, luscious, dark, meaty looking gravy. And then we're gonna add some Worcestershire sauce. This is vegan Worcestershire sauce because we don't want any fish or anchovies in here. So about a teaspoon. We're gonna let this cook for about 45 minutes while the seitan is cooking. Make sure you put a lid on it because you don't wanna lose any of that liquid. Put a lid on it, cook it for about 45 minutes, and we'll be back in a moment. It's been 45 minutes and ta-da, we have some luscious, beautiful broth. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna scoop out all of these. We have our seitan roast here. In retrospect, it's a little long. I don't think it's gonna fit. I don't wanna cut it, it's so pretty. The last time I made this, it was a bit girthier and I was like, let's make it thinner. But I was wrong. So we'll cut the rough ends off. Let's try this again. I'm so annoyed with myself. Will you fit now? Yeah! Don't throw these out, you can still eat those. They're still delicious. But this is a preview of the texture of the seitan. Right now it's kind of spongy, so that's why we're cooking it for a second time in this broth. So we're gonna boil this again for another 40 minutes. So BRB. So once the seitan is done in the simmering broth, you're gonna remove it from there and chill it for about 8 hours. That way you get the best texture, you let the flavor sort of melt together. But I'm a little on a time constraint today, so I'm gonna experiment with just doing it straight from a simmering broth and cooking it and eating it right away. I have a feeling the texture is not gonna be as good. I did cook it for about an hour and a half. So what I've done is I've removed it from the simmering broth and I also reserved about 1 cup of the broth to braise the seitan roast. With the remaining broth, you're gonna wanna turn that into gravy. I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. Just make sure that you keep about 1 cup of it for this. So I'm gonna pop this in the oven for about 15-20 minutes since it's like already warm. But if you're doing this from a chilled seitan roast, you're gonna wanna do it for about half an hour just to like cook it all the way from the inside. So make sure that you check every like 10 minutes or so and just like spoon, you know, like baste it so it doesn't dry out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put this in the oven for about half an hour, 15 minutes. We'll see. I'll experiment and I'll write everything out in details down below, but I'm excited. So now we're gonna make the gravy. So we have our cornstarch slurry happening here. The reason why we don't put the cornstarch directly in here is because it's gonna be a to stir. We're gonna heat up our simmering broth. We're just gonna stir this all in. It's gonna be a light color, but as soon as it starts to turn like kind of clear and translucent, that's how you know the gravy is ready. So I think I'm gonna add a little bit more cornstarch. So I'm gonna add some more in here to make a slurry. Once again, another heaping teaspoon. All right, so we're gonna add the cornstarch again. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thick, luscious, vegan gravy. So I turn off the heat and we're gonna set this aside. Let's get our dinner plated. So I have taken out the roast. It has been braised for about half an hour. We're gonna carve it up. It's got a nice crust on top. What?
Nothing.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not.
So now we can start to carve it. Oh. Oh, that looks juicy as hell. Thinner slices are better. The thick slices are okay, just when you like end up cutting like a piece, it's a lot in your mouth. Some mashed potatoes. These are just also basic mashed potatoes. I think I have a recipe on my blog linked down below. But the secret is lots of butter, lots of milk. Well, vegan butter.
Of course.
If you guys want this recipe for the stuffing, just stay tuned you'll get it next week. All right, let's give it a try.
Starting with the roast.
Yes. It's a big ass piece. That slurp though. This is just from cooking it like the same day. You can make it the day before and ideally the texture gets better. This is a little soft. It could be chewier and denser when you let it chill. What do you think of the gravy?
I like it. Tastes like gravy.
So it's a little bit of a hassle, but how would you rank this against like the tofurkey or the Gardein roast? Even though it's not the same sort of meat.
I don't really remember the Gardein roast. I remember liking it a lot. It's probably my favorite. Having said that, I think this is definitely a contender. The tofurkey, I'm not a huge fan of.
If you want to see like a fresher take on what we thought of those, we did a taste test of those last year, so you can watch those videos over there. But in my opinion, this is better than both. If you live in a place where you don't have Gardein or tofurkey, make this for Thanksgiving.
It's mighty tasty.
Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, comment down below. Are you gonna try this for Thanksgiving? What are you making for your Thanksgiving dinner or holiday dinner or whatever? Be sure to check out the videos from the collab. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a delicious day. Bye! So I kind of like this. It's kind of long. It's like a weird, I don't know. Oh my God. Oh, I had a piece of hair just poking me in my eyeball. My own body betraying me. Such a labor-intensive video. I can do more in a second, just wait. Wow, really? You just threw it across.